Several countries across Europe are preparing for a confined Christmas, as restrictions have failed to curb the rise in daily coronavirus infections. Several countries are imposing new lockdowns that go well into the new year. This week, tighter measures come into force in the Netherlands, Germany and the Czech Republic. Meanwhile, confinement, as the French call it, will be lifted. In its place will be a strict 8 p.m. curfew. Katie Dartford reports.
The Netherlands has imposed a tough new 5-week national lockdown in the run-up to Christmas. The country's Prime Minister said in a televised address to the nation that schools, non-essential shops, museums and gyms will close down at midnight until the 19th of January. Like the Netherlands, Italy is expected to impose tough new anti-coronavirus measures before the holidays. Italian media says the whole country could be placed under so-called red zone lockdown from Christmas Eve until at least the 2nd of January. England is following the trend. London and surrounding areas will be placed under the highest level of restrictions starting on Wednesday as infections rise rapidly in the capital. Social gatherings will only be allowed outside and restaurants will be forced to close once again. UK Health Secretary Matt Hancock said in some areas the number of COVID-19 infections is doubling every week and that a new variant of the virus may be to blame.
We've also identified a new variant of this virus, which may be associated with the faster spread in some areas. Now, we deal with this variant just like we do with all the others. The vaccine is being now rolled out as of today across by GPs in England and also to care homes in Scotland. Help is on its way, but we're not there yet.
Finland and Norway have offered medical assistance to Sweden as their neighbours' intensive care capacity hit 99% this week. The strain on healthcare workers has led to as many as 500 of them quitting every month. Demonstrations have been taking place in Paris against the closure of restaurants and hotels until at least the 20th of January. Tuesday marks D-Day in France when lockdown is lifted, a nighttime curfew is replacing it and travel is again possible. A mass testing programme is also being trialled in several French towns and cities, which, if successful, could be expanded around the country. Katie Dartford for Euronews.
Our reporter Stefan de Vries has more for us on the new 5-week lockdown that comes into force in the Netherlands today.
After a so-called intelligent lockdown at the beginning of the pandemic and a partial lockdown in autumn, the Netherlands is now choosing an almost total lockdown for the next 5 weeks. The number of positive coronavirus tests has been rising steadily, reaching almost 10,000 on Sunday, leaving the government no other option than to toughen the current restrictions. The new measures include the closure of all non-essential shops, museums, theatres, zoos and hairdressers as of Tuesday, while hotels are no longer allowed to serve food, not even to their guests by room service. All schools from primary schools to universities will be closed as well. And from now on, people can only receive a maximum of 2 adult guests per day, except for Christmas, when 3 guests are allowed. Travelling abroad is discouraged until 15 March 2021, while public transport is again being reserved for essential journeys. Daycare centres will be closed, except for children whose parents work in essential sectors like healthcare, public transport, food production and the media. Reactions from sectors affected by the lockdown are mostly negative. Museums are disappointed. Now they have to close for the 3rd time this year. Schools regret the shutdown and also say that they are now much better prepared for online classes than at the beginning of the pandemic, but that the social inequality will increase again. The National Catering Association calls the ban on food in hotels a symbolic measure with no impact on the infection rate. Business associations fear that shopkeepers will no longer be able to sell their stocks and call for more government support. The government dismissed the possibility of a curfew out of fear for social conflicts. The new measures will stay in place until at least 19 January, and a week earlier, the Prime Minister will give a press conference to announce whether the restrictions can be lifted or not. Stefan de Vries, Euronews in Amsterdam.